I think we have to be honest and recognize that things are likely to get worse before they get better, if they get better at all. In other words, we had warned before the election that these people were going to do a lot of damage, that the American dream to some degree hung in the balance, that this was a very important election, and American exceptionalism was on the ballot. Now, we can't turn around now and say, oh, gee, we were exaggerating, we were kidding. No, a lot of the bad things that Biden stood for, he's going to carry out. And that means that we're going to see with dismay things happen to our country that we perhaps never thought possible in our lifetime. But what that also means is that Americans who are on the fence, who maybe voted for Biden, can look around and go, wow, is this what I really voted for? Do I want to see the dismantling of what makes America unique? And those people perhaps will have a second thought vote for the midterm election 2 years from now, and then for the presidential election in 2024.
Victor, just going back to the point of illegal immigrants crossing our border during the COVID pandemic, when most Americans are being told not to travel, still, they're being put up in hotels. Americans, most of them haven't been to a hotel, for ages. And then they're just being released into society. I think that one fact infuriates most people, even people who didn't vote for Trump. I don't think it sits well with them.
Yeah, and it's self-destructive because the government is destroying the sanctity of their own edicts. So people say to themselves, I don't think I really need a vaccination, or I don't really understand why I can't do this, or I should wear this, or I should quarantine this, when you're letting literally thousands of people come in with a standard that you don't apply to them, but you do to your own citizens, as if citizenship is a disadvantage. And so while all this is going on, Laura, there's a lot of things that we're not talking about. We're $28 trillion in debt. We're going to borrow another $2 trillion. Are we going to inflate our way out of it? Are we going to have stagflation? Are we going to have permanent zero interest rates? We're really changing the way we do business in government. We never had one party say to the other party, that fringe candidate or that fringe member can't be in a committee. Or we've never had a situation where we're impeaching somebody out of office and the Chief Justice won't be presiding over. These are radical ideas. And then the reason this is the freest, most secure, and most prosperous country is individual creativity and freedom of speech. The reason that the Islamic world stagnated was mullahs were over everybody's shoulders and saying, don't do that because it impinges on the sanctity of Islam. Or I don't read research in my field in the 1950s from Eastern Europe or the Soviet Union because I know it's contaminated with commissars saying, direct your research this way. That's what's happening. We're spending billions of dollars and hundreds of billions of people's hours in what? I don't know what we call equity czars, inclusion and diversity workshops, mind rinsing, and it's very unproductive. Yeah, but it's really harming individual creativity.
I got to get another question to
everybody's
Dinesh
paranoid that if they say something, they're from their distant past will come out and they're altering their research or their expression.
But Dinesh, I think everyone has got to get off their heels and get on the offensive here in a thoughtful, smart way. They're the real racists. They're the ones giving people benefits based on race or taking them away based on race. And it has to be called out. We cannot be back on our heels. These people are the biggest frauds ever. They use their private jets. They fly around the world. Then they lecture everyone else about their green agenda as they're destroying lives. Including the oil pipeline workers. Those are really great Americans who had great jobs. And I don't think this sits well with people. I don't think this is what people thought they were going to get.
Well, and also these are people who suddenly claim to be shocked about the violence on January 6th and so on, where they've been encouraging violence, egging it on, putting up bail money, saying that the rioting should continue and will continue. That's Kamala Harris. So I think that Trump has an opportunity here, and the opportunity is not to make a narrow constitutional defense and basically say in effect that procedurally he should win the day, but defend himself on the charge of incitement by showing all the incitement on the other side, so the violence of the left is put on full display for the American people to see. In some ways, Trump's radioactivity, the fact that he's been so much the focus of attention, has diverted people from seeing what the left is doing. It's important for us to now bring their activity